Hi, it's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a patterned roll cake. I'm putting down in the description box below the exact recipe that I'm using. I do follow it, but I also have some of my own tips as well. The batter that we're making right now is actually quite pipeable, and it's a lot thicker than the sponge cake that we're going to be using later on in the video. So what you want to do here is you want to just make equal parts. So I used 1 ounce for everything this time around, but if you wanted to make something that was a little bit more detailed, you're probably going to need a little bit more batter. One of my worries with this was that I would over mix the batter because I'm coloring it, but actually it's very forgiving and it doesn't really change the texture too much as you mix it. So you could make multiple colors with this, no problem. I'm using 2 different size piping tips for this. I'm using a number 4 and a number 2, but really use whatever you're comfortable with. I will say that the smaller your pattern, the better this is going to turn out. My larger daisies were more susceptible to cracking, so you just want to make sure that you go maybe a little bit smaller with your pattern. While you're making the actual sponge cake portion, put this in the freezer for about 20 minutes at least. This isn't part of the original recipe, but I have a lot of lemons right now, so I'm just going to add a little bit of lemon zest. I'm also adding a little bit of lemon juice as well. And when I was adding that in, I dropped the eggs everywhere because I knocked over my KitchenAid bowl, so I had to redo that part. Anyway, this portion here might seem a little bit intimidating, but really all you're doing is you're putting this over boiling water, and the reason being is because you want to dissolve that sugar. The way that I tell that the sugar is actually dissolved is as I'm whisking it, I'm noticing all of those little kind of gritty bits from the granulated sugar are no longer showing up on the sides of the bowl. If you want to color your batter, make sure that you do it at this point to avoid over mixing. Then I'm going to go ahead and sift my ingredients. Now you guys know me, I skip this step as much as I possibly can. However, because there are no other leavening agents in this except for those whipped eggs and the folding method of the flour, I decided to sift it to make sure that everything stays nice and light. After everything has come out of the freezer, and this is pretty solid, and you do want it solid because you are going to have to kind of take your spatula and run it across the top. And if it wasn't solid underneath, then you would just kind of pick up your batter and it would mess up your pattern. The recipe is very explicit about not buttering or greasing your pan whatsoever. This went into the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 to 9 minutes or so. And then immediately when you take it out of the oven, you do need to cut this quickly. This part is very, very time sensitive, so you want to do it as quickly as possible. Make sure that you put it onto a nonstick surface. You could put it on another piece of parchment paper or wax paper. I like using my nonstick mat because it's something that I can just reuse over and over. When you're removing your parchment, make sure to do it very, very carefully, and you end up with a really beautiful pattern underneath. Then you want to take a super clean towel and make sure that you generously put some icing sugar on there, and then you're going to roll it up. This is going to ensure that it does not crack when you unravel it, and you want to leave that until it is fully cooled. Now I do have a little bit of cracking here and there, so I probably could have done with a little less time in the oven possibly, and I could have rolled it a little bit faster. Now the original recipe uses a stabilizer, and in this instance they use gelatin for the whipped cream. I just did straight whipping cream, whipped it up, and it's working perfectly fine. And then I go ahead and smooth it all out. The smoother you get this, the more even your roll is going to be. And then go ahead and cover it with some berries, or you can just eat it plain on its own. And it looks so, so beautiful. If you're not into fondant and icing details, this is a great way to have a beautiful cake. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!